Sometimes it happens that you land in a beautiful place like this in the middle of the day. So what can you do? Welcome to my channel. Here we talk about photography, and I make videos just like this one where I try to take some interesting landscape photography. So if you're here for the first time and you love photography like me, it might be a good idea to subscribe. I apologize for my hair, but it's very windy here. Anyways, my opportunity today is not only the hair, but is also to make the most out of this beautiful location. It is 12:15. The sun is perfectly on top of us, so maybe not the ideal lighting for landscape photography, but still we can do something about it. But I love the contrast of the snow that didn't melt yet and the mountains behind me. Although we are 1 kilometer to the border with France, it looks like we are in Scotland. So I like to create something, and my first thought is to create a beautiful long exposure panorama photo. First thing first, I need to find the ideal spot. It looks like that from this spot I am a little too close, so I thought I will walk further out in order to have more distance and be able to include the tips of the mountains here behind me in my shot. So I need to figure out if I want to use the ideal lens for panoramic photos, which is the 50mm lens with less distortions, or the 20mm lens. Let's see. If I want to have this rock right here in my foreground, in the middle of my panoramic shot, with the 50mm lens, it looks a little tricky to include the tip of these peaks. So maybe I will need to go with the 20. So while setting up my tripod, let me tell you that the photo T collection is back. Here, my AR vintage T, but there are some new designs that I will show you very soon, but they're already available on the website. So if you want to support this channel, you love photography, you want to have a fantastic photo T, check it out. Link in the description below. Thanks for your support. So I want to center this rock in my panorama. I will use the 20 millimeters, and I don't want to include this thing, so I need to be into the water. That's when the higher boots are useful. Let's grab the camera. Let me level my tripod head, and now I can place my rotating pano head in this fashion. While rotating my camera, it will always be leveled, and it will be easier to merge the vertical shots in Lightroom. It looks good. It is all leveled. The only problem is that you guys, I mean, the camera that is recording me is in my shots. So I'm going to move you right away. And now that I moved you, I'm going to take my first panel, ISO 64, f8, 1/80. Let's start the panel. I will overlap my images by 1/3 so that Lightroom will have a better time in merging the shots. I took 6 vertical shots in order to have this panel centering the rock and having the horizon line, the water line, right in the middle of the frame. Let's add the neutral density filters. And now maybe some clouds are moving in, which can make this even more interesting. As it often happens, the sky is brighter than the rest of the scene, so I will add an ND grad, remove the hair because we don't need that, and I place it on the second slot so that I can see the effect that it will have on my scene. Yeah, very nice. And now that I found where it should be placed, let me add a 10 stops ND. But actually I am going to go with the 15 stops. Unfortunately, it is dirty, so it's only fair to clean it. We don't want to waste time and effort. Although this is a lake, we do have a lot of wind, and the water is moving quite a bit. And with the f8 ISO 64, I have 1/100. With the 15 stops, I would have a shutter speed, an exposure length of over 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes, which is a lot because I need to take 6 shots. I would like to cut the exposure length to 3 minutes. So I'm going to increase the ISO until I have 1/200. So ISO 125, f8, 1/200. In this way, with my 15 stops, I have 2 minutes 43 seconds, which I will round it to 3 minutes. I will need my remote shutter release. I set my exposure length to 3 minutes. Let's start with the first shot. I don't need to remind you, but I will, that I set my camera in manual mode. The autofocus is off and the camera is set on bulb. The first shot is done, and it is very critical to be able to overlap 1/3 at the time. I like to use reference points in my scene and overlap the images by 1/3. If you move the camera, at least in the Nikon system this works, if you move the camera in the shutter priority mode, even with the filters in front of your lens, you are still able to see something of your scene. So what I do is I review my last shot, I go back to the camera mode, I set the shutter priority so that I can move my camera using my reference points. Otherwise, I should take off my filters every time. It's very annoying. I move things and I don't like it. So this method works. Try it for yourself. On the Nikon system, shutter priority is the mode S. While waiting for the third shot of my panel, paying attention not to touch everything and make a mess, I like to tell you that it has been overwhelming, the amount of kindness, and I may call it even love, that you guys have been able to send me through your comments, your emails, your messages. It's humbling. It is very interesting how we can connect even if we never met in person. You keep me company when I take my photos, and hopefully my videos are keeping you company as well. So all I want to say is just thank you. I love reading your comments. I'm pretty sure that I read every single comment of every single video. Don't stop now. Thank you very much. I strongly appreciate that. One more shot. As I said, shutter priority. I review my photo and then I can move it by 1/3. Go back in manual mode and we start another exposure. My last shot is about to end. 37 seconds to go. I'm done here. I will bring these images into Lightroom. I will merge them together, crop them to the most appropriate ratio, maybe 4:1 or 3:1. We will see. And I'm done. If it is true that long exposure photography requires a lot of patience, for panoramic long exposure photography, even more so. It is a waiting game. At the same time, if you pick strategically your locations, you will be waiting in beautiful spots like this. You will be recharged, you will be happy regardless what is the result of your final shot. And as I mentioned in previous videos in the past, panoramic long exposure photography can be a very good way to capture beauty during daytime, even if it is 1 o'clock, and most landscape photographer wouldn't even go out at this time of the day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you capture a few tricks here and there. This is all for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.